especially for those doing the PhD, because you are and you're going to be a doctor of philosophy. So it's very important for you to understand the concept of philosophy. So you need to have that elements, have that component in order for you to decide on your research methodology and also your research method. So basically, at the end of this lecture, you should be able to understand the research paradigm and its importance to the research. You should be able to describe the different research paradigm used in research. You should be able to differentiate between the inductive and deductive research and what is the process involved. And at the end, of course, should be able to apply this research paradigm for your own research. Okay? So this is what we try to achieve at the end of this lecture. Okay? So before we go further, okay, need to think, okay, because you are doing a doctor of philosophy, need to know what is research philosophy, what it is all about. So basically, research philosophy, there is a few definition by a well-known author. Okay, for example, Sanders et al. 2009 described research philosophy as the development of research assumption, knowledge, and nature. Okay? S.W. Smith et al. 2008 suggests that research philosophy is a basic belief system that guides the investigation and the choices of methods and the research strategy applied. So basically, from this definition, we know that some sort of research philosophy is something that you believe, okay? What you believe to be a reality, something real for you, okay? And your belief is actually going to be a guide for you on how we to collect your data, okay? So, the basis of research, which involve the choice of research strategy, formulation of problem, data collection, processing, and also the analysis. Basically, the research philosophy actually combine all of the process of conducting a research. It's about your belief, what you believe is right, and then you go through the process to validate or to prove that whatever you believe is actually the truth. Okay? So, research philosophy and research paradigm is different thing. Okay? So, paradigm is a set of common belief and agreement shared between some scientists on how the problem should be understood and addressed. Okay? So basically, in the layman words, okay, paradigm is the way of looking at life and are grounded in sets of assumptions on the nature of reality. It is about how you see things. Okay? I'm not sure whether you have heard this or not, but people always say that PhD or doing a research is all about the journey. It's the way how you see things, and it is the process how will make you as a better person in a way of your thinking. Okay? If you go through a PhD process in 3 years, it's actually a training process that challenge your thinking, how you see things, the perspective of life, how you solve the problems. It is part of the skills that you will gain through the PhD. Okay, last time when I did my PhD, when I started, I remember my supervisor always told me, he always shared with me that PhD is not only about your topic, it's not about your research. Your research, your topic is actually a tool, something that shape your thinking. PhD is more about how you sharpen your thinking, how the way you see things, how you see the world, how you see the reality. So when you is able to be more critical, you are able to change the way you think. The PhD will be much easier for you. It will come together. Okay, so just to share with you, always remember that, and it's also teaching you skills on how you solve a problem. So basically, it's the way of how you tackle the issue, how you propose a solutions to something. But of course, it comes with a process, and then how you justify things. When you do the write up and so on, you need to be able to really communicate your ideas well. So it is part and parcel of the process that you will learn throughout the 3 years of your journey as a PhD student. Okay, so part of it, you start with how you see things, the way you think, and so on. So research paradigm and logic of research is actually something that has existed long time ago. So the early work about this logic and also paradigm comes from the great philosopher that is Plato, Socrates, and also Aristotle. Plato is the student for Socrates, and Aristotle is the student of Plato. So they are the great philosophers from Greek. Okay, so if you have, it's good during this starting journey, if you have a chance to read some of their write up. This is many years ago. It's been rewrite for them and so on about their philosophy and about their logic, their thinking, how they see the world. Okay, what they do is they do a study of logic, belief, perception, language, science, and also knowledge. It is about thinking on the research and reasoning things. It is the development of mind. So this is what I'll just share with you just now. So it's about your thinking, how you reason things, and so on. Right. So understanding the research paradigm, okay, will help you define research philosophy. So just now we've talked about research philosophy is the strategy, how you conduct your research and so on. So if you understand your paradigm, you know where you are heading, so the research philosophy will come itself. Okay? Right. So basically, research paradigm we can categorize four. Okay? The biggest the umbrella of all, I would say the umbrella of all is called as the ontology. Okay? Ontology is a question of the existence. Okay? You question yourself, what is the reality? What do you think is a truth? Okay? So, what you believe as a truth? Okay, we'll go through that one by one after this. It's just to give you some ideas. And then the second part, narrow to the ontology, is the epistemology, which is the question about the knowledge about the reality. So you believe in something, you think that this is the truth, this is the reality. Epistemology is the on how do you know that that is the truth? Okay? How do you have the knowledge about it? So it's answering a question is how do you know what you know? Okay? And then the third one is methodology, which is the approach, the procedure that you use to acquire that knowledge. And the last one is the methods, which is the tool that you use for data collection and also analysis. So in this right hand side, okay, it's just illustration on how actually ontology, epistemology, methodology, and methods is actually related to each other. Ontology is basically okay, the fundamental of how you view the world. So, like I said just now, it's the umbrella of all. How do you view the world? And you have the epistemology and how you should investigate the world, and then you have methodology as the branches. How should you best collect your data? And the methods is actually at the end, believe on the details exactly how the data is collected. So based on my experience, of being a supervisor, being an examiner for the thesis, students always in your chapter 3, call it as a research methodology. The students always lack on this process of identifying their ontology and epistemology. Okay? Students usually directly jump into the procedure, okay? How they want to collect the data and so on. And most of the focus of the student is a method. Okay? From the beginning, set their mind that you want to do a quantitative, you want to analyze using this kind of software, so on and so on. Now understanding that why they need to do that. Is it needed to do that? Is it justified to do that? Is it the right thing to do that? Because for them, most of the students, their understanding is the more analysis you carry out, the more complex your software or your data analysis, the better will be your thesis, which is that is a wrong assumption. Okay? You need to have a fundamental knowledge of why you need to do that. Okay? Because at the end of the day, you need to justify why you did what you did. So that is very important. Okay? Whatever that you put in your thesis and so on, it must be followed by the justification. Why you did that? Why you need to do that? Okay? Because again, we go back to the epistemology, is the knowledge about the reality. How do you know that? Okay? Alright, we will go to that. Okay. So first one, the umbrella of all, the roots of all, it's the ontology. Okay? Like I said just now, ontology concerned with the nature of reality, the nature of truth, what is considered as the truth, and what is considered as the reality. Okay? It deals with the assumption and underlying belief system that researchers have about the way the world operates. Okay? These assumptions, concept, or proposition help to orientate your thinking about the research problem and its significance. So, what do you believe as the proof? Okay? Right. There are two types of ontological perceptions. Okay, the first one is called as objectivism. Okay? Objectivism presents the position that social entities exist, but they are beyond the research of social actors. Okay? It is something that you know is already exists, but can't do anything about it. Okay? For example, right? Ryman 2004 described culture as the tangible reality that is external to social actors. It is the shared values and custom of people to function as good citizens, fully participate in the society. The belief and value in society all can be constrained on them. So in this objectivism, it presents the situation that it is what it is. Okay, for example, what they mean in culture as a tangible reality that is external to social actors is like you are born with it. Okay, you are born with your culture. It's your value that has been inside you. Okay, so whatever happens to you, okay, whether it's a bad thing or a good thing, okay, it's something that you hold in you. And if it's a bad, like for example, you fail to perform or you are not able to perform in your organization and so on because of the culture, it is something that is inside you. You cannot do anything about it. Okay, so it becomes your constraint. Okay, just like we believe that the world is round. Okay, you can't do anything about it. It's one thing, the world is round, that's it. Okay? And the second assumption is on the constructivism, or it is also known as subjectivism. Okay, it presents the position that social phenomena are created from the perception and consequent actions of social actors. It suggests that reality is determined by a people rather than objective and external factor. For example, instead of seeing a culture as an external reality that acts on and constrains the people, conservatism do it as an emergent reality in which people create culture continuously and there is no set of cultural understanding. So the constructionism approach or subjectivism approach believes that whatever happened is actually determined by the people. For example, if you say that then they believe that culture is something that can be changed by the people are the one that create their own culture. So whichever bad things happen and so on, you cannot perform and so on, it's because of you. Okay? Another good example is in terms of leadership. Okay, some people say that you are born to be a leader. Okay, someone is born to be a leader. That is the perception from the objectivism, meaning that you have that traits of a leader inside you. Okay? However, for constructionism, Leader is something that you actually work for. Okay, you can have a good leadership skills. Okay, you're not born to be a leader. You're not gifted to be a leader, but you can learn to be a good leader. Okay, to actually control, to act. Okay, learn to be a good leader. There are many reference and many things that you can do in order for you to be a good leader. So that is the difference between objectivism and also constructivism, right? Okay. Second one is the epistemology. Epistemology concerned with the question of what or should constitute as the acceptable knowledge in the discipline or the field of study. It is addressing how you know what you know. It's investigating the truth. So basically, epistemology is investigating your ontology. Okay, so you believe in reality, something is true. How do you know? So it's the process for you to answer the question, how you know what you know. There are three epistemological positions, which is positivism, realism, and also interpretivism, or also known as phenomenology. Okay, so we go through this one by one. Okay, so epistemological position, positivism. Okay, the concept of positivism is directly related to the idea of objectivism. Okay, the application of natural science method, the study of social reality and one. Okay, because you know there is only one truth, okay, and you want to study that, there is a specific methods of doing that. Researchers are interested in general information and large scale social data rather than focusing on the details of research. The researcher's own personal attitudes are not relevant and do not affect the scientific research. Okay? Positive also associated with the observations and experiments used for collection of numerical data. So usually objectivism in the fact if your ontology is on the objectivism, the pair for objectivism, the epistemology, the positivism, in which you see the world as it is. So, in order for you to prove that what you know, the truth is the truth, you will conduct the experiment. Okay, this is more on the science. Conduct experiment, have lab, and so on. Prove that that is the truth. Okay, so you are not interested to know about other aspects and so on. You are focusing on the subject matter itself. Okay, the second part of epistemology is the realism. Okay, realism suggests that natural and social science can and should apply the same kind of approach to the collection of data and to its explanation. Okay? There are two forms of realism, empirical or direct realism and critical realism. So, empirical realism reflects the fact that what is experienced to people, senses, portrays the world accurately. So this is the, if you read some papers, they say it's the empirical research. So the empirical research is to ask people, okay, whether through your questionnaire and so on what they actually experience, okay, how they experience the world. From their experience, you come out with a assumption to say what you believe is. Okay? On the other hand, critical realism recognize reality as having structures that are not spontaneously apparent observable pattern of events and only be identified through the theoretical work of social sciences. So critical realism, you use a theory, okay, you use a theory and you try to prove that theory, okay, the theory that have a structure and so on, try to prove more um, the definition of truth is based on whatever that you found out. Okay? Next one is interpretivism, which is also known as phenomenology. Okay? Interpretivism or phenomenology, epistemological position that is contrasting with positivism. Okay? Interpretism or phenomenology suggests that study in the subject finds the method study and the institutions are fundamentally different from the science. Okay? The interpretism position advocates an understanding here and focuses on individual that makes sense of the world them. So the interpretism position, they believe that how will make sense around the world. So basically, it's more on conduct, on the interval, how the things happen. Okay? And then you move to the methodology. Okay? From that, from your ontology and from your epistemology, then only decide on your methodology. Okay? Methodology is a broad term used that refer to the research design, methods, approaches, and procedures used in an investigation that is well planned to find out. So the key words here is the procedure, okay, the procedure that you use to investigate, and it should be well planned. All right, it deals with the obtaining the desired data, knowledge, understanding what will enable a researcher to answer the research question, thus make contribution to knowledge. So basically, how you answer your research question, how you collect your data. It includes assumption made, limitation encountered, and how we get nice. Right? Oh, when you want to start, you have your ontology, so on, and then your epistemology, what you think your stand is, and when you want to collect your data, okay, it ties together with your methods, whether you are doing it deductively or inductively. Okay? Right. You categorize your research as a deductive approach if you start, it is also known as a top-down approach. Okay, it is in which it starts with an established theory or literature, then go to the data collection process. Find the theory is associated to a specific inquiry. So basically, you have a theory, you conduct a data collection, and you confirm a theory. Okay? This deductive approach, okay, if you do your framework, your framework usually a theoretical framework. Okay, this is one of the reasons why students sometimes are very confused between theoretical framework and also conceptual framework. Okay, so if that's from a theory, okay, and then that theory you want to confirm or you want to prove or you want to put the theory into a different setting and so on, then you are a deductive. So your research is a deductive approach. Okay? Usually, usually a deductive approach is more on the quantitative side. Okay? And your model, okay, the model developed is more on the prescriptive model, meaning that you confirm a theory, you prescribe the model, this is what it should, this is what people should do. Okay? And then the second one is the inductive approach. So inductive approach is described as a bottom-up approach that begins with the observation from a specific inquiry, okay, with the findings of observation data into the formulation of theory. So inductive approach is like, know something is not right, you observe things, okay, and then you do your data collection, and then you formulate a theory. This is where, if you ever heard that a grounded theory concept, this is what it calls as a grounded theory. Okay, come up with a new theory. And usually the inductive approach is more on the qualitative side. Okay, so when you do your observations, okay, when you have your model, okay, that your research framework is the conceptual framework. Okay, that model is the conceptual framework. And then after that, these are the final model that you verify or in the conceptual framework that you come up with. The model is known as a descriptive model because you describe things from your observations. Okay? Right. So this is basically how the difference between deductive and inductive approach. Okay, like I mentioned, deductive approach is a top-down approach. Starts from your theory, you build up your hypothesis, and then you do your data collections or your observations, and then you confirm or you reject the theory. So on the other hand, inductive approach, you start from the observations, and then you identify the pattern, okay, and then you have a tentative hypothesis or you form your research questions, and then you collect your data, and you come out with a. So this one is deducted from Bernie 2008. Right. Okay, however, okay, I know that some of you may be thinking that you are actually in the inductive approach, but you already have some background of the teacher. So it says that the traditional deductive approach has been closely linked to quantitative research, whilst inductive research is closely associated with the research. So, but there are situations where research leans more towards interpretism or constructionism, which aims to explore and understand certain phenomena or certain issues inductively, and it is not possible to ignore a wealth of literature and the theoretical framework available on the topic, which indirectly makes research more conducive to the deductive approach. Okay? Raymond 2004 stated that the deductive and inductive approach are better to be considered as the tendencies rather than hard and fast distinction. So basically, with the large amount of knowledge now, many references and so on, it's almost impossible, to come up with a research that nobody have ever done before, or nobody have closely covered that topic. So even though that it starts from the observations, you may have some other background knowledge on that topic. Okay? However, you want to address the question of how or why something happened. So you may use a quantitative approach, adaptive approach to cover the topic. Okay. So this is these references, okay, that I have been used